no one except Wes. Wes was like the only person who said Sentinels are probably going to win this tournament. Well, they beat Cloud9. Now you got to get through the green wall. And I tell you what, that is not an easy task whatsoever. I will say though, maybe an advantage slightly. Optic would have been preparing for Cloud9 here. There is no way Optic would have expected Sentinels to be who they were facing here. Have they been looking at, those game types that they're going to be going up against them? Have the coaches been looking at things? This is going to be an intense series.
Looking at those game types then. Game 1, Live Fire Strongholds. Talk to me about it.
Live Fire is the home of Optic Gaming. We know that and they know that. They have an impeccable record when it comes to online competition. They've only ever lost it once in scrims and they played it far too many times. This is going to be a tough one for Sentinels.
Will the green wall stand strong? Or have Sentinels brought a sledgehammer? 3 dead for Sentinels.
It's a great start for Optic Gaming, exactly the kind of pace you'd expect out of a team who are very comfortable. This is their home turf, and Lucid's already off and firing.
Strongholds A and C in control, and B. It's a trip cap for the green wall.
And whilst this may be the best game type for Optic Gaming, it is also the worst game type for Sentinels. This is genuinely the worst way Sentinels could start this series, but maybe it's a case of just getting this one out of the way if it goes wrong. But if you do win this game type, think about the confidence that would give you.
Sentinels get a foothold into A. They control it. Lucid! Spins on a dime, pops the shields, and TriPPPeY lands those final shots. Rotations come through. They lose C. But they're starting to convert to A now, and it could be very quickly another triple cap locked in. Our Sentinels already in massive trouble.
I think they might be 55-1 already. Sentinels are just trying to get a foothold in this game, just trying to slow it down, but you can't even put a toe in a stronghold right now because you give away too much of your position. Sentinels are going for a weird C and A take at the same time, and Optic are more than ready for it.
Formal, a former teammate of these Sentinels boys. What way is he going to be communicating with his new roster? Let's have a listen in.
Take that fight.
Much bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's all one shot.
Frosty's going screens.
Yeah, screens. You shot back to you. Yeah, he's one shot on mid. He's gonna run. I don't see him. I got blind B. Be careful. Blind B. One shot A. Go red tunnel right now. Try here. One shot. Two there. Focus like I see. Elbow absolute. Okay, one's going to A a little bit. One's going to A right now. Slow this down, bro. Slow this down. I'm right here with you. I'm looking top net spread.
Let's go. You're probably at A with it.
Yeah, one's elbow still. TJ.
Yo, can we look at
elbow weak? Elbow one shot. Absolute elbow. Absolute.
One bullet still. One shot. Key door. Pushing you. Oh, Takeo's on it. I mean, Camo dead. Small door kill. Two dead.
Key door really weak.
He's bottom middle, guys. He's top mid. In the vent. Watch you guys back. I'm at 8. There's boxes.
Dummy.
I'm gonna hold B. Yeah, I hear you. No. We're hunting B. Yeah, I hear you.
I'll play with you guys spawn. I think there's one hiding in A, okay?
I'm just gonna hide B.
Hear that. Did you guys spawn?
They're playing for nets. Elbow and going nets person.
Yeah, walking elbow.
weak.
Frosty.
That's
SnakeBite weak.
Okay, Neva.
One shot. Double weak.
Ran.
Still here. One shot.
Oh, you guys. He's one shot. Top middle. Sniping top middle. He's pre-aiming. He's just pre-aiming it. Last guy top middle. This live.
My key takeaway from the Astro listening was Optic saying, hey, let's just slow things down. Let's not get sucked into playing too quickly here. Let's play our game and ensure that Sentinels are just uncomfortable once we do set up. They still have a lead, but Sentinels have done very well to keep this close.
Sentinels do have that foothold back in the game now, making more of a contest of it now. Heatwave will finally get the job done over Royal 2. But Snipe Rifle and the Meatwave. In one man, you don't want to touch it, but he's been shut down immediately by LethuL.
And you really do have to shut down these players when they start to pop off. And I tell you what, that's one thing LethuL succeeds in, is he clutches up, whether it be taking power weapons out of people's hands, whether it be killing players in strongholds or ensuring a flag gets returned. This is who you need to look out for, but look at the team shot from Optic Gaming.
SnakeBite, the IGL, the master tactician. Can he go one further with the team here and push them to where many believe they belong in grand finals? He's picked up the camouflage It's about to go to work.
Has the camouflage, but unfortunately no strongholds to work with, so they're going to try and take A temporarily. It's whether Optic can collapse before SnakeBite gets in a position to actually do some damage with this camo.
Damage done. First pick, Formal. Moves in slowly now. Back green. Has one to contend with. Unable to do so just yet. Knows there's a bit of trouble around. Lucid. Back down, bottom middle. Great value for money. Great bang for the buck for SnakeBite there.
Done really well to ensure they were able to capture B, and as soon as C was being taken, they also stepped over towards that side. So even though Optic are trying to make Sentinels think on their feet a little bit, Sentinels are not flustered. They're keeping up with the pace of play. Sure, they're a little bit behind in terms of score, but we've already seen so many times this tournament, it can turn around very quickly.
So much experience on the stage here. All 8 of these players have been here before. They've been to grand finals before. They've won championships. Frosty, though, former 2-time world champion. Heat wave in his hand, positioned bottom middle, and just awaiting the lambs to the slaughter.
There's almost too much history with this team, isn't there? There's ex-teammates, there's previous series at both Anaheim and Rally. Former was playing on this roster at one point, just a few months ago. And now it's his chance to try and show why he deserved that spot on Optic Gaming. A, B, and C, though, in control of Sentinels right now. They are starting to get their way back into this game.
Sentinels going up through the gears. They've got Optic Gaming on the back foot. Not even Cloud9 could do that for large portions. Can they start to close that gap? They've already done a sincere and conclusive job in closing the distance, and they're about to take the lead for the first time in the game.
They do take the lead, and that shows such great heart and spirit from the Sentinels roster as well. It's very easy when you're going up against a team like Optic Gaming that you get deflated when they start to just manipulate the map in a way where you really struggle to get back in and get kills. They're constantly keeping it close. They're constantly taking these engagements, and they're winning 1v1s.
SnakeBite, his second successive camouflage. And the heat wave combo too. It's all out of juice though. He has to be on his ones from here on out. Attention turns to A, recognizing that his team still have control of B, but the spawns have got to be fortunate here. They do get A, but B is starting to lose control. SnakeBite will not get there quick enough, it would seem, as Optic descend on B, but he's looking to cause a ruckus, and he's picked up one, but they have lost B.
A little bit late to the party, perhaps too late. They were hoping to time it successfully, but Royal 2 is the latest to the party, and he has been doing so much damage this tournament. It is actually terrifying the amount he's been able to output. BNC, though, still in control of Optic Gaming right now, and if Lucid can stay alive, he can be a real nuisance, do some damage from a distance.
2 dead for Sentinels. One player just milking his life back there. It's going to be Frosty's. Finally cleared out. 4 dead for the Sentinels. And that cement in the green wall starting to solidify.
Sentinels want to take C, but if they do start trying to take it, their presence will be known. Finally, they put their foot in. Optic have now the information. And how do you collapse here? You've got the first pick, you've taken down LethuL. The rest of Optic, you would imagine, would start to swarm in. But a great answer back from SnakeBite.
Hunting in the pack, but they've all gone into C. They put so much resources into it. Lucid picks up a couple. A and C, though, will be converted. Camouflage about to pop. Sentinels not going out of this just yet.
Yeah, Sentinels did fantastically to hold C there. By the way, and no, you're not grabbing that power up, says Lucid. The last sniper bullet, a very important one.
Frosty shuts it down, though, eventually. Backs away. Back in the tower with a teammate. 212 to 147. This green wall trip cap is cranked up to the maximum. And they're getting all the points that they do desire.
Oh, Frosty had to win that fight, but of course APG's there. He's been doing that all tournament long. His assists have been incredible, and he's always cleaning up those kills. BNC in control, A currently being taken. Sure, SnakeBite has a camouflage, but the points are starting to get away from Sentinels now.
They have to get into B, because Optic Gaming only need 11 points now. A and B starting to get control. Sentinels have a lifeline.
They have a lifeline, but they've got to play this incredibly successfully now, and it's all going to start here with SnakeBite hitting these shots with a heat wave. Lucid, though, he's got another sniper rifle, and we've already seen what he's been able to do so far this game. Sentinels cannot allow Lucid to get in a position where he can close off so many of these angles, but the good thing for Optic here is Sentinels are kind of scattered across the map.
Patience for Optic. They've got some time to play with. APG's got the initial pick. It's going to be Frosty and LethuL, and two members of Sentinels left desperately trying to cling on to B, tooth and nail. 3 dead though. Lucid of Optic Gaming has to back up.
It's a very important killjoy. Take SnakeBite out of the equation, get that heat wave out of his hands, stay alive if you can, but LethuL will find the sniper rifle. There's those clutch kills that I was talking about. A and B isn't going to control now of Optic though. They're going to be temporarily scoring. You've got to fly fast.
Only 6 seconds then. LethuL has to go. He has stepped inside B. He's dipped out for a moment. That's going to be one more point to the tally. He stepped out again. 247, 249. Optic Gaming take game 1.
But it was expected. That is Optic Gaming's best game type across the board. Mapping mode, combine them together. It is their bread and butter. That was Sentinel's worst game type. And if that is their very worst, then I am pretty scared about what might happen in the rest of this series when Sentinels start to get maps that play better into their play style. Optic have done what was expected of them, but now as we go into map number 2, Sentinels, they have a little bit of confidence about them with how close that game was.
Let's break it down. Let's dissect it. What did Optic Gaming do so much better that Sentinels just didn't?
Sniper control. I think that was the key thing. You keep
Lucid
sniper control out of Frosty's hands. It's a kind of a competition, right? Is Lucid going to be hitting those shots? Is Frosty going to be hitting those shots? Frosty didn't get his hands on that sniper rifle very often. In fact, Sentinels very rarely had that sniper rifle. Even though, try as they might to take it out of his hands, Lucid was always finding skulls. And Optic, they kept it calm. You heard in the communications, let's slow it down. They recognized when they needed to play fast, when they needed to play slow. And they just had a little bit of extra something about them here against the Sentinels roster.
A little extra magic. Cool, calm, and collected in the communications. SnakeBite, try as he might. LethuL. They were trying to get ahead of steam. They were trying to light that fire. There is confirmation. 250 to 187 in favor of Optic Gaming. And Slayer Aquarius is up next.
And when I looked at this series layout, Aquarius Slayer was going to be the swing game for me here. Historically, we've seen Sentinels struggle a little bit on this map against teams who maybe are a little bit lower down the pecking order. XF, for example, your top 8, your top 12 teams. On the side of Optic, it's a very bang average game. They win against big teams, they lose against big teams. If Sentinels can win this game, it could really throw the series in their favor.
On board with Lucid then in game 2. He was so influential for Optic Gaming. Can he have a similar performance here in the Slayer and double the series lead? Or will Sentinels roar back into life?
No sniper rifle this time, but there's some very dangerous sizzle sticks that he's just put out. Gained a lot of information, and now he wants to finish off the damage he's just started. And look at the freedom to which he's able to push out into the middle of the map right now. This is chaos, but he's still able to pick up the frags.
3-3 off the break. Hasn't favored anybody just yet. And LethuL jumps up, lands that all-important blow. 5-4, but TriPPPeY has the camouflage.
TriPPPeY this tournament has done so much for this Optic Gaming roster, whether it be objective focus or whether it be getting these power-ups. He always seems to be there or thereabouts to do a job. But what do you do now you've got the camouflage? Gain some information for the team, or at least pick up a couple of kills here.
Just gathering information though. Downloading, passing onto his team, using all the tricks in the book. LethuL tries to dip his head behind that box, not going to be enough though. Still plenty of attentions here. Bad intentions. LethuL goes down. And after that, melee. 8 kills to 7 in favor of Sentinels.
A great collapse there by Sentinels. They were hesitant to push out because the camouflage was somewhere there or thereabouts. And SnakeBite's got another heat wave. But I tell you what, Thrust does beat heat wave time and time again. And if TriPPPeY can pick that up, that's going to be bad news, I think, for Sentinels.
TriPPPeY then. Plays over towards P side. Couple of shots at the LethuL. His shields will be a little bit worse for wear and have to wait. LethuL, no doubt, feeling the damage of those frag grenades. He backs away. Camouflage in 5, and coupled with this heat wave, it can be detrimental to the health and the well-being of these Sentinels players. It's about to pop. Here it is.
TriPPPeY saving the dynamo grenades as well, just to gain information, try and do damage before that camouflage popped up. They were able to work out where the Sentinels roster were, and TriPPPeY does the initial damage, may have gone down, but he can feed that info to the rest of the team now. Camo might be able to be picked up because of it.
Formal. Will he be final here today? 11 kills, make it 13 kills to 11. Wearing the Optic whites on Championship Sunday. Now the green wall would love a championship here today. LethuL down to no shields. Formal puts them away. It's a 3-kill game.
A 3-kill game in what usually Sentinels have struggled with in the past in Aquarius Slayer is they can take a considerable lead but seem to throw them away. We've seen a lot of Game 5s as well in this tournament, but against Cloud9, Sentinels look like a different beast. We need to be seeing that Cloud9 performance now surge through the veins of Sentinels. They need to find the same kind of energy they were able to find in that previous series, because they looked like they were actually on par. For the first time, probably in Halo Infinite, they've looked like they really were flowing well.
On your screen is going to be LethuL as he gets that trade. There's been question marks over his position on the team, and this possibly one of the most important tournaments of his career. Performing here for his team. They're in winners finals. It's where they deserve to be, where they belong. But now Frosty, shot down onto TriPPPeY. Backs him down, all the way down. Formal getting frisky on straight stairs, and he's not long for this world. 22 kills to 15, a 7-kill differential.
It's another amazing collapse there from Sentinels, and I agree with what you said. It's a tournament that LethuL has to prove why he was and still is one of the best Halo players of all time, and why he deserves to be alongside players like Frosty, who is an up-and-coming best player of all time, right? When we start to see these years go by and Halo Infinite carry on, Frosty deserves to be on one of these top rosters with how he plays. He is a magical player to watch his POV.
Camo. Picked up, scooped away, whisked away into the darkness. Down and around the fridge. Will it be past its sell-by date, though? As he approaches the front base. P1, a couple of players. Formal's one of them. Evaporated. See you later. Night time. 25 kills to 17 is the Optic chance. Ring around the stadium. 8 kills, though. And the game is slowed down just a touch as Lucid gets caught. Doesn't pay the price, though. TriPPPeY down to no shields. Royal2 on hand to put that one away. They just need to trade here. Killing spree for Frosty. And Formal looks to be the latest one to hit the respawn screen. Away he goes. This is the kind of performance you expect from the Iceman.
Such an incredible period of play for the last couple of minutes from Sentinels to take a 7-kill lead now, but they cannot allow history to repeat itself where they throw away a lead like this. Keep up this kind of pressure. Even though the game's not being played at a particularly fast pace, they are dictating how fast Optic can play. They are slowing them down to a pulp, and they are watching every corner, and they're not allowing them necessarily to get these really influential weapons to help them get back into the game.
2 down for Optic Gaming. Lucid and Formal have to wait to rejoin TriPPPeY and APG before they can be a factor once more. This lead increasing. APG has put one away. Frosty got a little bit overzealous. Teammates not on hand on that occasion. But it's 3 men positioned over towards P side for Optic Gaming. And they have picked up one, but it's been traded.
Optic trying to really take control of this P side, maybe to get some height and maybe try and stop this Sentinels pressure where they've dominated top middle. They've been able to get these camouflages, but unfortunately Sentinels have been wise to it. They've been in a position to consistently stop them on the push. It's 3 dead once more for Optic. Sentinels now on to 38, and they are getting closer and closer to tying up this series in what I defined as a must-win game for this roster.
Another camouflage for Frosty. Dynamo nades picked up, one thrown in towards the lockers. Lucid's feeling every bit of that. Patience, though. They always tell you it's a virtue. As LethuL does arrive to capitalize on that initial damage. APG sliding himself out of dodge, recognizes the collapse is coming. And Royal2 falls into a trap. A TriPPPeY is set, but TriPPPeY came back for more. Got a little bit greedy with the cheese. 41 kills to 28.
Plenty of camouflages for Sentinels to work with, and great help as well coming out of LethuL. He came to Frosty's aid, did not allow him to get taken down. And at 43-28, you can already start thinking about map number 3 if you're a Sentinels fan. Optic really struggling to push out of the base at the moment and get any sort of foothold into this map. Sentinels have been flawless with their execution here on Aquarius Slope.
7-kill game. Claps coming through. Formal. Dispatched. Now requiring 6. The heat wave coming in to collapse, and Royal 2 against the odds gets a trade.
And that's all you need. Trade after trade now for Sentinels. They know full well they can lay traps, they can force Optic to push up on them, ambush them, get that trade. 5 more kills is all you require. This has been incredible from Sentinels. Optic probably left answering and asking a lot of questions. How on earth have Sentinels really pummeled us to the ground in this game?
SnakeBite, the general, alone in fridge. It can be cold over there, he's isolated. Just about thinking about it, weighing up his options. Camouflage about to pop up, and Optic Gaming need it. 4-kill game. Make it 3 now. As the general kicking through the gears and giving the orders. They only need 2. 1 kill. Royal 2. Shot to the TriPPPeY, and Frosty closed the distance. This series is all tied up. Sentinels show signs of life.
And if you thought this was going to be a clean sweep for Optic Gaming, think otherwise. Sentinels are the real deal once more. They've had a couple of tough tournaments, particularly in Rally. They had to make that change. You know, they had Formal on the roster coming into Anaheim. Questions, will it work? Is Royal 2 up to the pace? Is LethuL still there? He didn't really answer those plaudits. They didn't really answer those questions. But now, here in Kansas City, with more practice time, with more LAN time under their belts, Sentinels look like the roster that once won championships.
There is LethuL, the man of the moment. A smile on his face. Is he enjoying his halo here? He's taking one of the best teams to a game 4 at the bare minimum. As we do look at the replays here, what was the difference between these two teams?
Optic never got firing. They were never able to really control that heat wave, control the dynamo grenades that spawn on the car side of the map. They kept consistently trying to control P to hopefully really overwhelm Sentinels, but it never really worked. Sentinels were positioning themselves over and over again in these little sneaky areas like LethuL was doing. Dropping down to bottom middle, flanking. They had great collapses. Sentinels just outplayed Optic. It is as simple as that.
Sentinels find those little pockets of space and exploit the holes in the armor that Optic Gaming gave them. Game 3 on the horizon though, we're now all tied up, and we didn't expect this. Optic Gaming probably didn't prepare for it, but now they've got a little bit of a question mark up against Sentinels.
It's going to be Bazaar capture the flag as game number 3 as well, and you highlighted LethuL, and we've been highlighting LethuL all tournament long. Like, is he going to be good enough? Is he still where he once was? In capture the flag games, I feel like that's where he really turns up. That's when LethuL is so important. Statistics through the roof when it comes to objective efficiency from LethuL on capture the flag games. For example, when a team is trying to return a flag, LethuL gets those kills time and time again, and then will pull that flag at least a little bit further towards his home base to help the rest of the squad. Sure, his slaying ability hasn't been incredible throughout this tournament, but objective-wise, he's been doing that dirty work. He's been the very important, that core part of this Sentinels roster. And if he can just about go even with slays, this is going to be a very good weekend, a very good Sunday for Sentinels, because stats would say, as long as he's going just about positive, Sentinels are winning games.
Questions yet to be answered. Can Sentinels go one better? Can they drive themselves back in the grand finals? Optic Gaming fans will want to say no and shut them down. Bazaar CTF is going to be game number 3. Statistically, who has the edge?
I'd say statistically this is going to be a pretty even game between both of these two teams. Both in scrim results, online results, and LAN performance, we've seen fairly even wins to loss ratio. So I wouldn't say either team has the favourite position when it comes to these two squads, but with momentum behind now this Sentinels roster, maybe a little bit of worry starting to come through the Optic roster. Maybe I'm leaning towards Sentinels, because when you're Optic, you've already succeeded in what you set out to do this tournament, and that was beat Cloud9. But they probably didn't think about it was going to be a case of someone beating them for them, right? You've already outplaced them at this point, so you think. They were expecting to play them here in the Winners Bracket Finals. They were no way ever considering this was going to be a Sentinels game.
Sentinels have thrown that spanner in the works. How do Optic Gaming now pivot and adjust? Fist bumps all around. They're ready to get back into business. Lunchbox standing behind them, trying to rally the troops. And on the other side of things, LethuL, he's going to be so important for this team. As we do load into Bazaar CTF, the opening engagements are going to be so important here. Optic Gaming against Sentinels in your winners finals, game 3.
Everything at the moment is looking like it might go to a game 5 with what we've seen in these first 2 games, but Bazaar capture the flag. Very difficult to try and defeat a player like LethuL. He's going to be trying to get in and behind your base. He's going to anchor from your base at times as well. Getting in your bar, getting in your palms. You have to shut down LethuL if you're Optic Gaming.
LethuL trying to get in the face of Lucid. Not many men do that, live the fight. Another day, live the fight and tell the tale. Formal though, immediately applying pressure onto the enemy base. They've got 2 dead. Formal with the overshield turns his attention towards Lucid. With the help of that rocket, LethuL hits the respawn screen and a quarter of that overshield still left to play.
What a start from Optic. After a pretty dismal performance by their standards on Aquarius Slayer, they had to come back in game number 3 here. And to get the overshield and get a flag on the move suggests that they are very comfortable here on Bazaar, but that flag has been stopped temporarily. Sentinels have done very well to contest it here bottom middle.
SnakeBite tries to start the return, but it's in a very precarious position, a very exposed position. And as a result of that, LethuL and his long-standing duo SnakeBite go down. Frosty desperately trying to do what he can, but it's not going to be enough, as it's already made its way through the double doors, and APG punches in flag number 1.
And if that was intentional by Optic to have that flag on top of the market, then credit to them, because it's so difficult to return it when it's up there. And APG looking to try and generate a little bit of energy for this Optic roster. They struggled in game 2, but they look far better here in game number 3.
Double kill for SnakeBite. In no mood to mince words. Flag pulled out on the move, looking for that added movement. Slides down. Up the stairs he goes. There hasn't been any slaves in the way back just yet, and TriPPPeY, with the help of the Bulldog, LethuL's going to be the first pick. SnakeBite recognizes that and slows things down.
Also got to slow it down because his overshield's coming up. You can't commit too much to the flag, otherwise you give up the OB, but SnakeBite gets whisked away there, and I tell you what, Optic say, well, if you're not going to run a flag, how about we'll take one instead?
Down on the bar bridge. Lucid's backed away. And now we see one go down for TriPPPeY. Frosty has picked up that overshield that Sentinels were waiting on. But where's the cavalry?
The cavalry's there, popping a flag in for Sentinels. 3 were dead for Optic Gaming. The overshield goes into the hands of Frosty. And all the meanwhile, the flag was being run by LethuL. They tie up this game and they say to Optic, you are going to have to work harder than that to keep a lead.
LethuL then picks up one at the formal. Really making a game of it. Making a series of it. Being so difficult to play against here. Sentinels have rolled into Sunday. A different beast to what we've seen yesterday when they went to game 5 with the Knights and indeed Quadrant. They've woken up and they're smelling blood in the water.
They are a Sunday team, aren't they? Double kill for Frosty, looking to try and make it more, but unfortunately the Bulldog from that distance does not hit hard enough. But time and time again, who's there to clean up the pieces? LethuL is quite literally the janitor of this team right now, always mopping it up.
TriPPPeY's in trouble. SnakeBite turns 2. Lucid position back base. A rocket. Fade away. Almost a flyby. Lucid will finally hit the respawn screen. So much damage done by SnakeBite. And LethuL pulls the flag.
Sentinels once more starting to click, starting to look like the same team that took down Cloud9 that little bit earlier. Overshield's going to be popping in 25 seconds, so you do have time to get this flag across the map. Just got to be careful about players on your pillars. And LethuL knows that. One touch just to keep it alive. Really important play, as LethuL probably recognized he was going to go down soon.
One touch is all it can take. Flag down bottom middle. And if Sentinels have only done one thing in this series, it's silenced the crowd here as the green wall has been hushed. As all of a sudden they know they find themselves in quite a precarious position. 1-to-1 here. Formal has the overshield, but he's been lit up here. And he falls.
And whilst there is a big following of Optic, there is also a very important following in the crowd as well of Sentinels. And these guys know full well that either of these sides can take this winners bracket final. Even though Optic go in as the favorite purely based off of online performance, the Sentinels roster has not looked like the online team that we've seen in recent weeks. They look like a different beast.
3 dead for a moment. A lot to navigate for the former world champions. Let's have a sneak peek listen in. Thanks to Astro.
Let's do down there. One at your right side, TJ.
Could be another one.
No, that was him. These pillars. We need to kill. We need to kill. We need to kill. APG's here.
We're good, guys. We're good. Nice. Keep up the pressure.
Yeah, we're good. I didn't think
He's RBR. I think he fell. He's RBR.
BR, I'm fighting him.
Probably RBR from elbow side.
There's two. They're gonna be. I spawned over the tree. They're gonna be like a closet.
Another one there.
I got him.
Might have Shoddy now.
I'm pushing him.
Yeah, Shoddy is probably.
One shot. We
You guys are both there. Collapse.
Leaving him.
RBR. One's RBR. Everyone
RBR.
RBR. Rest PJ and Shoddy's down.
They're BR.
I can get Shoddy if you want.
I'm gonna take it.
I'm gonna go elbow. Yo, guys, I'm
getting
going
shot, I'm
elbow.
getting shot.
They're tree.
They're
You'll
tree.
play off me. Hello.
Yeah, I can't, Brad. I'm our doubles, one shot. I'm hiding.
I'm one hit.
Going rockets. I think top rocks.
Yeah, they're playing top rockets for sure.
And
Lucid
they're doubles tripping.
Alright,
Shot tripping.
they're trench beak.
Can't see him.
You're good. I'm main spot. They're doubles
Top
dead.
rocks. APG. We got top rockets.
Last two with me. Go there, fight. Pull.
I got pull. I'm getting shields.
Top rockets.
I'm launching.
Watching left, Brad. Watching left. Lucid out.
Okay, I'm their BR.
I'm wait for us. He's our elbow already. You guys have to go.
They're tree.
I'm just playing my life.
Lucid
Can
elbow.
go our tree or you go our tree. He's gonna go our tree.
Yo, they're bounced to me. Formal
on it. Nice. One more APD and trippy. APD.
I'm pushing out their tree. Yo, up to doubles. 2 on me.
No, I'm playing for rocket.
There's 2 on tree. 2 on it.
They're gonna get raised. Trippy on it. Both one.
3 mid.
Another one, Brad. Another one. I jump up after that. Yo, Lucid.
Something I found very interesting in that listening. The Sentinels team had a flag positioned down bottom sewers. They all got wiped and one man stood up. Very easy to be frustrated. Sentinels, SnakeBite, the general said, we're okay guys, we've got this. Keep the pressure up.
And it's very rare that a run through the Bulldog area works. I know that E United have been favoring it and actually making it work, but I don't think you can be too disheartened when it doesn't work. It's a risk and it's great when it pays off, but you just have to give it up when it doesn't. As TriPPPeY looking to try and improve in this game a little bit. He's been struggling statistically, but does have plenty of assists. And TriPPPeY as that player who stepped up objectively for Optic Gaming. Maybe the rest of the Green Wall are looking towards him to try and get in that base, try and get some flagpoles on the go.
This has been a brawl. 1-1, 5 minutes on the clock. Neither team able to take the lead in a very, very long time. Can TriPPPeY turn this game around? His team need him here. Frosty though, eyes on the prize. APG will take 1. 2 go down now. Lucid in a 1v1, but Formal's got the flag, but he's running it straight to Frosty. A 1v1 for the ages, and Formal, ice in the veins!
Had to win that engagement, and it should be a cap because of it. Frosty, a very difficult decision, and unfortunately, it means that Optic go 2-1 up if you're a Sentinels fan. 2 members had fallen. Frosty had so much to do, and even a man of his caliber was unable to get in the job done. 4 minutes remaining, and it looks like Optic starting to heat up now, pushing again into the base.
So much to do now. Have Sentinels bit off more than they can chew. Optic Gaming are up for the scrap. Bottom middle was the stage. 2 down though. Can Sentinels roar back here with the clock very much against them? This is going to help. It's an overshield.
Overshield will really help in this game, and at the moment, Sentinels are out slaying Optic, so all they have to do is try and put this into practice, get into the base, try and get at least 3 dead before you're pulling that flag, and LethuL with the shield advantage should close this one out. Doesn't. Great work from Lucid, but the rest of the Sentinel squad coming to clean up.
SnakeBite last man alive. Face to face with TriPPPeY. Shut down by TriPPPeY. And just like that, he's turned his game around now at 9 kills, 10 assists and 11 deaths.
We're really seeing how important that thrust is once more here on Bazaar. If you're off spawn and you're spawning on that side, you've got to grab it, and you've probably got to be timing it as well if you're the coach. Get as many players with a thrust as possible, because it really does make the difference in these engagements.
4 perfect shots. Frosty's also gone down. Rocket launchers just popped. Lucid wants it. He's called for it. Formal's picked up 2 in the feed. Royal 2 wants a bit of the beef. Wisely backs down. But now the boombox over the shoulder of that man Lucid. And he's looking to get a little bit tricky with it.
Gotta be careful of these grenades first. They know where Lucid is. They've got that information. Can he get into a position where he can maybe surprise? And actually, I said they knew, but maybe LethuL wasn't necessarily aware. And LethuL's done the job to at least gain the information for the rest of the team so that the second rocket was wasted. And as for Sentinels, they just have to be on the back foot. They have to absorb this pressure for a short while and hopefully push out, get a couple of slays as this overshield's going to be popping.
These two teams know each other's games so well. The best of enemies. 2-1 the score then, as we run into the final 2 minutes of the game. Royal 2, eyes on the enemy bars. PJ, SnakeBite, goes slithering in there. Can he get the kill with the commando? A trade won't be good enough here as 2 go down. But LethuL's got the overshield again. Formal recognizing that, backs away after doing the initial damage.
Good from LethuL to try and back out of that fight and not walk out into a trap, but unfortunately, you go one way, there's Formal, the other way is Lucid. Neither path is the correct one. And with 1 minute 30 left on the clock, Sentinels maybe just 1 or 2 pushes left to try and get a flag on the move.
TriPPPeY eliminated. Frosty 2. It's a 3v3. SnakeBite bottom middle. Lights up APG. But he received considerable damage too. As we now enter very shortly the final minute. And Sentinels are in trouble.
I think what's very clear is Sentinels have been controlling the overshield side of the map. Optic more so the rocket side of the map. And rockets have kind of won the battle. And I tell you what, winning battles. Formal absolutely pulling out all the stops now to try and keep his base safe.
They call him Mr. Piv. He wins those for breakfast. Double kill though for LethuL. Not going to be enough. 42 seconds on the clock. Optic Gaming just need to hold on.
Yeah, they're just going to set up a barrier now, Optic. Wait for these Sentinel players to push. Try and catch them in angles they don't expect you. 30 more seconds, you have to hold on. And you will be leading, but there's the opening that Sentinels needed. Have to get Formal out here, and then maybe you can push in, but Optic respond with 2 kills of their own.
Formal digs his heels in. 4 dead for the boys on Sentinels. Only 13 seconds left on the clock, and I think they know the job has been done here. Optic Gaming will take your game number 3 and go 2-1 up in the series. It was ugly, but it was efficient at times.
It's never going to be an easy match for either of these teams when you're going up against a squad who has been put through so many scenarios across the years. But Optic, all they had to do was make sure they held the lead in those final few minutes, and then you can afford to play that defensive style. Sentinels, they gave it a blooming good effort. A couple of good counter-cap opportunities. A couple of times where Optic Gaming got that flag top market, which really was a nuisance for Sentinels to try and return. But ultimately, and what I said was a very even game for both of these teams. It's the green wall who come out on top.
The green wall registered 72 kills. Sentinels, 71. Separated by only 1 measly kill. But at the highest level, it can make a difference.
It can, and it's not like that kill, you know, completely won them the game.
It did.
You think so?
It did.
Okay, maybe it was the kill that won them the game. Who knows? Maybe it was the kill that stopped the flag run, for example. But as we look back at the highlights, I was trying to work out where these teams were really prioritizing. The amount of overshields that we saw in control for Sentinels, but they weren't resulting in flag caps. And that's often because the overshield player was then focused by Optic Gaming. But the Rockets were really hitting hard for that green wall. They were taking down some of these Sentinels members. But in a game like Bazaar CTF, it is always going to be those fine margins. Who can get that flag a little bit further? Can you get it through double doors? Can you get it sitting on top of market, for example, so the other team can't return it? Optic will be very happy to go 2-1 up in what I said was a very even game. And as for Oddball Streets, I think this is looking quite green to me. Sentinels traditionally not that great when it comes to Oddball, but I've said that in the past and I have been completely wrong. So I am hoping that we will get to a game 5 because it's what the series deserves.
As we do head into the Oddball then. With Formal on your screens. Look at the punches ticket to grand finals. They're 1 game away from not only winning the series, but having that insurance policy should the challenge arise.
Sentinels cannot allow Optic to gain too significant of an advantage in these kind of games, because Optic have done very well when they are in control, when they're able to gain some structure. And And I tell you what, if you want structure, Rocket's are the perfect way to start things off here for Optic.
APG then. One hits the stairs. Splash damage will be enough to stop that push. Ball in hands. Nursing it, back tower. TriPPPeY's going to be the first point of contact. And if he requires it, which he did need a bit of help, but APG's got the shout to rotate in towards PD, which he obliges now. 2 dead. APG milking all this ball time and rotating it towards his new spawners. Frosty with the Bulldog's not going to get enough damage done. Perfect rotation from APG.
Yeah, not just milking the time, but right, he gives his team a chance to actually help him off spawn. But Formal's going to do a lot here, and Formal is doing a lot. Picks up 2, means that no wall time will be gathered from Sentinels, and that's what you need from Formal. He's that entry fragger of the team. He gets in the face of his enemies. He gets those kills to open it up for his team. And at the moment, Optic are really blazing through this one.
Formal's in championship form, it would seem. Killing spree locked in for him. Looking lasered. Bulldog in the back pocket. Royal 2 hears it barking and rounds himself back out of there. LethuL though picks up 1. It's going to be a trade. Formal will fall. Lucid last man standing. And he's in a world of hurt here as Sentinels starting to crank the pressure. Ball time finally for Sentinels, but after all those slays, the difference is very little.
You know, there's Rockets on the map. There's a Bulldog on the map. There's also a Formal on the map, and he has an objective in himself here for Sentinels. They can't allow him to get out of control. You have to be shutting him down. Otherwise, as he starts to run out of control, he will really start to pummel you into the ground. Already 8 kills. And if Sentinels can, you know, silence him just that little bit, maybe get some of these power weapons on their side, then they can start to get back into the game, but that's a second set of Rockets going in favor of Optic Gaming.
All 4 dead momentarily for Sentinels. All time now in the hands of Optic Gaming. Wiggles are coming through, and somehow, some way, Lucid comes out on top, as he so often does. With a sliver of shields left, he is ultimately taken care of. What can SnakeBite do, though? The call is coming. Pinch the ball now. Do not let them get free time. They've eliminated 2. TriPPPeY goes down. 3. Lucid, last man alive. SnakeBite takes that ball and brings it back tower.
I have to say, Optic's ability to trade is unreal. When one player is last alive, the individual fights they're winning, or even in 1v2s, they're still taking one with them. And that's why it's so difficult for Sentinels to really get a proper setup at the moment. This is the closest that they've been to actually positioning themselves to stop Optic from gaining any sort of position to get the ball. But look at that spawn! Formal spawns PD, and that's now going to be so much trouble here for Sentinels.
Formal spawns where he wants. LethuL, ball in hands, reacting to that spawn point. Formal hasn't died yet, looking to get frisky down on the ATMs, but somehow Formal does the job, and here comes the cavalry. Ball in hands, Frosty turned to a snowman. In a hot summer's day, he's nothing but mush.
A terrifying sight when you walk around the corner and 3 of the green wall are staring you down, not missing a shot with the battle rifle as well. Sentinels matching up well though at the moment. It's a very close game, and it could just come down to 1 rocket, maybe even 1 grenade to make the difference in this first round. But of course, with the new style of Halo Infinite, with rounds being apart here in Oddball, round 1 is not enough. But if you can give yourself that momentum, it's going to give you great stead going into the rest.
Sentinel 1 second away from taking the lead, but Optic now taking control of station. Frosty's moving in. Grenades go down. It will connect with Formal. The Bulldog, though, he wins those.
Time and time again, we're seeing this Bulldog really make or break a team's chances of winning one of these games, and Formal will take down LethuL. All the meanwhile, TriPPPeY, the objective-focused player for Optic Gaming, is just holding onto that ball for dear life and saying, look, where are you spawning? Where am I throwing it? He throws it out front. Doesn't get the trade, does get the trade. What a grenade that was.
APG eliminated. Here's LethuL now. Couple of shots into his former teammate. Doesn't connect with that melee, just a little bit shy. T-Rex arms won't get the job done, but Lucid will. As he gets that double, turns his attention towards Backtram with a couple of pre-nades, but SnakeBite dodges them, gets himself out of trouble. Lucid cleared his corners. 75 seconds to 48 now. This lead is starting to be a little bit significant.
Yeah, Sentinels starting to struggle a little bit more now, getting caught out in maybe areas that they shouldn't be. A little bit of ball time though will at least keep them guessing, and Optic will have to force a push here. But the movement we're seeing from Lucid is so difficult to play against.
So fluid on the map. Changing trajectories, moving around the map, getting different sight lines. Always on the move. Royal 2, killing spree for Lucid. SnakeBite desperately trying to get to the arcade, but he hasn't got any change to put in the machines.
Gets denied, and Lucid's still somehow alive. It doesn't matter who he faces right now, it's kill after kill, but it's still only a 13-point lead. Even with all these slays, Optic up by around 14 kills at this point. Sentinels have just about kept in it. They've got one last push in them to try and break this setup and give them a chance of winning round 1.
One rocket dispatched. No kills. The second one will connect. Royal 2 feels the full brunt of that one. 2 go down. All 4 down for Sentinels. And round 1 will go to the green wall. They will be 1 round away from taking Game 3 and the series.
The grand final awaits Optic Gaming if they're able to get one more round, but Sentinels will be looking to try and disrupt that story. From what we saw from round 1, great consistency from this Optic roster. And they really have looked so similar to how dominant they've been online. No matter who they face up against, they always seem to have an answer.
53 kills, the 40 is what separates these two teams to this point. It's not a lot, but it can be enough to make or break a setup. SnakeBite has got the ball for a moment, has to drop it. They have to pry it from his cold dead hands. As now Optic bring that ball back towards Tower. And they have the insurance policy now of Lucid with the red gun. And he's gone up to a little sniper nest here to rain down death and destruction.
He was also looking for a secondary weapon. He was like, is there a BR anywhere? Okay, a commander rifle will do as a secondary. Great grenade though, but he manages to avoid it somehow. Lucid's doing so well with his movement, by the way. Just watching his screen is an absolute pleasure. It was back in Raleigh, it was in Anaheim, and he continues to impress here in KC.
Weapons exchanged. Bulldog in the back pocket. APG goes down. TriPPPeY in trouble as Sentinels collapse. And there's going to be a siege now in PD. Barricades up. Lock it down. But the inmates are coming. And they want what you're selling. A bit of a standoff here. First kill going to be so important. It hasn't come. Finally it has. Royal 2 gets the first pick. Numbers advantage here for Sentinels.
Great awareness by APG as well, knowing full well someone was going to be waiting in tires. He slides on in. It means those Bulldog shots are so difficult to hit. But it is a good amount of time that Sentinels have been able to put on the board here. And Frosty, if he can start heating up, you really feel that Sentinels can get back in this game. Round 1, he wasn't up there in the slaying department. Maybe just trying to do a little bit too much for that squad. If the rest of the team can assist him a bit more, help the damage that he's outputting become kills, there's no reason why Sentinels can't get back into this game.
Speaking of damage, APG with the rocket. Shut down by his former teammate, SnakeBite. Frosty runs straight into a pre-nade. Formal scouted that one, seen it coming, he's seen that movie.
Optic have finally got control. And this is where we're going to see the real difference between these two teams, Jersey, is that when Sentinels had control, they built up around 20 to 30 seconds, which was really good against an Optic roster, but where do Optic go with it? They're playing a really off-meta setup in the moment, and Sentinels say, you know what, this isn't going to do you any good. It's all 4 dead for Optic Gaming, and Sentinels now can regain control.
Setup broken. And they only require now 40 more seconds to tie up this game and apply real pressure to Optic Gaming.
And look where Sentinels are trying to position themselves. SnakeBite wants to get some angles with his Stalker rifle, but he's run out of ammo. And he's only got a Bulldog in the back pocket, so he has to play up close and personal or get another weapon. The Commando should do.
Commando, the Bulldog's out. And unfortunately, he's got a bit of a muzzle on it. As 2 go down here. 3 down. LethuL. What can you do? Position front C. Not a lot. As Optic start to gain more points. 44 seconds to 83. Sentinels slow it down, waiting for their teammate to pop right back up. And rockets, in 15 seconds or so, they're going to be massive.
Yeah, Optic keep getting these rockets as well. Sentinels have really struggled to get any power weapons, and maybe that's why we're seeing Frosty maybe not getting as many kills as we've seen historically. He has 50% of this team's kills with power weapons in this tournament. He's always finding rockets, he's always finding the sniper rifle, but it's not been allowed to happen. Can though Sentinels get hold of these rockets? Yes, they can, but it's SnakeBite who has the responsibility.
Has he got the power in the jaws? Claps down on one, claps down on two. And the venom's starting to spread here as LethuL only requires to hold the ball for 4 more seconds, but all 4 dead. We're all tied up here in the Oddball.
Sentinels stay alive and they will stop the Optic story momentarily. And they say, Optic, you're going to have to work harder than that if you want to get to the grand final. And from what we saw as well, Sentinels made Optic look like a completely different team here in round number 2. But what I will say is very important, Sentinels starting from the lower side of the map now. That's why we saw Optic take such an advantage in round 1. They had the high ground, and they actually added so much pressure because of it.
Obi-Wan once had the high ground. We know what happened there. Can Optic Gaming cut Sentinels in half and leave them burning on the sands, on the streets? Formal though, ball in hand, 8 seconds gathered. He's heading towards the station, but he doesn't have his ticket in hand.
Stations where Optic Gaming seemingly want to be setting up here with the ball as well. Sentinels though have been able to pinch it away, but do they know APG's here? APG's sharing a train with them, but he's in the wrong carriage. Can he get in the right one?
LethuL says choo-choo. I'll bring this ball all the way back tower. Not interested in that. Station scrap it all. 2 go down though. LethuL 1 with the ball in his hands. No longer. Rigor mortis starting to set in here. LethuL has dropped that ball in a good position though. Bottom middle. But neither team wanting to put their hands on it just yet until the first pick comes through. They've traded back and forth. 10 seconds to 8.
You really can sense the tension, not just in this game, but in this arena as well. This is on a knife's edge, and I think everyone knows just how close this one could be, but Frosty with the assist from Royal 2 shuts down 3 members of Optic as Sentinels continue to score here. Are they going to be able to get to this game 5, or are we going to see Optic explode just as they did in round 1? Sentinels, though, what they've done very well, they've not allowed Formal to get behind them as often as they did here in round number 1.
This game's on a knife edge. How are Lucid and Optic Gaming navigated through communications? Let's have a listen in with thanks to Astro.
Top desk, weak. Top desk, one shot. No, they're going to
Back up, Ivy.
I got one. On rocks. Bull back, one shot. What? She's rockets are traded. Purple. Watching you. You can say.
Watch out, ATM.
One rocket is down. There's a guy. There's another guy. You can get around.
Watch out.
Watch out, purple, absolute going up purple stairs. Absolute going up purple stairs, 2 of them. Top purple, one shot. Like, same spot, full health, full health. Top side. Another one,
Nice. On ball, weak. On ball, little red. Trash.
Shots up.
He's bottom step now.
And
ATM. Still alive, best
They're going to ball. They're going to be on commando. They're going to be on commando.
Watch your commando.
Ball, guys, look at ball.
Commando. Nice.
Look at Trey.
One, 2 dead.
Top by being ball.
Here. I'm pushing ball, guy.
Still top by being
Look at the ball, guys.
Watch the weak Ivy. Watch the
ATM, guys. ATM.
ATM, one shot, LethuL. Dead. Top.
Commando.
Kill this. Kill here.
2 there. There's already 2 there.
I'm checking on the top.
Half.
Mayor Brad.
Guys. Keep running away. Keep running away.
Keep running away.
Play kill.
Super purple. They're on it.
I'm here, Tommy.
Just keep going.
Communication remains calm, but 3 dead for Optic Gaming. And Sentinel starting to eat that lead. There's very little to separate these 2 teams.
I said I wanted Frosty to step up, and boy has he been stepping up. He's been getting those entry kills, but SnakeBite doing the same, sliding in, being aggressive. Sentinels really starting to play fearless at this point. They're beginning to believe that they can get this to a game 5. Maybe thinking, actually, why not make it a grand final as well? But with APG getting a stick like that, things become increasingly difficult for Sentinels to stay alive, but Frosty still hitting hard.
Is Frosty starting to wake up from his slumber? This is what we expected to see from Sentinels from the get-go. This is where they belong. on main stage, playing in front of a packed house. 36 seconds to 30 here. And they've got a slender lead.
Formal versus LethuL. It's a big fight, but LethuL
every
just
time.
unfortunately struggled a little bit there. But it doesn't matter because the pieces are cleaned up. Frosty gets some rockets, no kills are found. 40 to 30, still plenty of time remaining for both of these squads. But you know full well, one mistake, one true setup for the other team, and that could be the game done.
Ball take.
All picked up. SnakeBite goes in with the Bulldog, trades out. Frosty picks up another. And APG doing what he's so good at, milking time for his team. And he'll play that ball when he needs to. There it is, out front base. 2 go down. It's a 5-second game.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from Sentinels though. The more that we get into this game, the more they're learning about how Optic are trying to play. They've been shutting down individuals so well. LethuL needs to stay alive. You do not want to be giving this Bulldog away, but Formal comes swooping in. And that is a hefty prize for him as well.
Sentinels, look at the crash. This Optic gaming party shut down the parade. Formal though, has picked up a couple of kills in this life. Really punched a hole in the Sentinels' armor, but Frosty shuts him down eventually. But all this time, ball time. It's a 3-second game.
3-second game, but Frosty does have control of station at the moment. Double kill for him. Bulldog in the back pocket. He's starting to hit every single shot that he fires out of that gun. If they could just get that ball into Tram, but you've got to risk it. You've got to put your body on the line, but that's why Frosty is one of the best. He gets it, and he gets away. And now the ball is in a position where Sentinels can score once more.
Frosty's been the inspector. Nobody's had tickets to enter his station. Lucid, with a bit of movement, TriPPPeY's come from base.
Oh!
How telling would that be? 3 dead. TriPPPeY down to a sliver of health. SnakeBite eliminated.
Eagle team halfway to victory.
And Optic begin to eke out a lead. However slender, they have somewhat of a setup.
Once more, though, this could really just come down to one push from Sentinels. As you say, that opportunity for Frosty to get the kill, but just not quite getting the melee. Could be so detrimental, but Royal 2 opens up here. APG going down means the rest of the squad can now push. Lucid an important 1v1, but LethuL gets the trade as all 4 down for Optic Gaming. Sentinels with 34 seconds have ball control.
And the captain drops the Bulldog off to that man, Frosty. This game may very well rest on his shoulders. And they're broad enough to take the brunt of it. Lucid shuts him down. Bulldog transfers control. It's a 4-second game once more, but the shot clock, the game clock, reached 27.
Lucid tries to throw the ball out. LethuL trying to do damage as well, but APG, he scampers away with the ball. And I think that Optic might be choosing to play the clock now. 20 seconds remaining, a 5-point advantage, and they just want to stop Sentinels from pushing.
The call has come to play Slayer, and APG moves that ball into a safe position. He's got CCTV all around it, and if you want it, you're gonna have to come and get it. They have to come and get it. Lucid has gone down, but Frosty has it in his hands. They only require 1 more second. He's got it. He's got it. The 1 second. Sentinels. We're going to a game 5, baby.
I wanted Frosty to step up. And it's unbelievable how he's just been able to waltz on in and take that ball away from Optic Gaming. A game 5 is what this series deserved. They met in Rally. It went in favor of Sentinels. They met again in Anaheim, and it was Optic who took the plaudits. But here in KC, it's all still to be decided. Game 5 in the winners bracket finals, nothing to separate the two. And what a game that was.
Sentinels go to yet another game 5. They've almost been like Oprah Winfrey handing out game 5s, and you get a game 5, and you get a game 5.
What is important though is they've been winning those game 5s.
They have.
They haven't lost yet. They're still in the winners bracket. You can say the same for Optic Gaming, but this is the biggest test Optic have faced so far. But how far can Sentinels push them? You go to a Slayer, a very difficult situation when you get Slayers against Optic. But that ball game had everything.
APG, right here. It looked as though he had made the right play. He had the Bulldog, and he was waiting to get up close and personal. The first kill came through. Frosty, LethuL, and that was all she wrote. What a late game display, clutching up when the team needed them most. Confirmation then, games 1 and 3 go the green wall. 2 and 4 to Sentinels. And as we load into game 5, Recharge Slayer. Green wall. Are you looking to taste the elimination bracket here? Because Sentinels look to upset you. Frosty, the man of the moment. Here we go.
Sentinels' best Slayer game type as well, may I add. They just feel at home when it comes to Recharge Slayer. Optic have struggled historically on this one, so Sentinels, you've got to take this chance when it's prepared for you, when it's put in front of you on a dinner plate for early stages. Optic able to get that first kill, but it's a nice even up from Sentinels.
2-1 the score. Game slowed down. Both these teams recognizing how important this one is. Because the likelihood is you go down here and you'll meet the mighty Cloud9 at some point, barring some sort of miracle. Sword though, in the hands of Frosty. Camouflage in his chest as he slowly makes moves forward. Not looking to expose himself just yet, just get the information that they require. TriPPPeY, he's right behind them, he's in the corner, he's lined them up and he's sliced and diced. 3-2 though. It's a 1-kill game.
I like what I've just seen though from Frosty. He's prioritized map control there. He knows that the sword is so powerful here in Pipe, so he says, look, I'm gonna make sure I clean it out, make sure I take control of it. And now Sentinels are in a position where Pipes is theirs for as long as they can control it. Optic have to make a decision. Do we just want to play this one as slow as Sentinels are playing, or do we try and speed this up a little bit? Optic seem to be a bit more comfortable when they play faster on this map, and maybe Sentinels know that. 3-2, and we've already played almost 2 minutes.
Game slowed down to a crawl. SnakeBite, the latest man to have a tombstone in his name. It's a 2-kill game. Frosty desperately trying to find the player to put the sword through, make a kebab off. Back down though, recognizing that wasn't the time to go. Camouflage again has just popped up. It remains a 2-kill game, and how desperately Frosty would love to get his hands on this, but Formal's made the move, and Formal's picked it up, and he's got 2 members in front of him, and he's dropped down into a world of pain.
Wow, what a play from Optic Gaming. They were waiting patiently. All they needed was a little bit of a sight line onto Frosty, and then they exploded into movement. Formal gets the camouflage. Formal gets the sword now as a reward.
Oh! LethuL! Open up an incognito tab, folks. That was pure filth. It's a 1-kill game.
What on earth did we just see from the POV of Formal? That is going to do wonders for Sentinels. They could have been really struggling with camo and sword in control of Optic Gaming, but a tied game now. And LethuL with the shock rifle, and he is just waiting for another player to walk into that crosshair.
Patiently waiting. As we come to another standoff. All tied up. In the game, in the series, Formal. Here standing up after that shot. Not enough to get the kill though, and LethuL back down. This might be the moment to go. Lucid. Thinking about it. Contemplating it. As 1 is good, 2 is better. 10-10. Frosty in trouble. 2 members converge. LethuL last man standing. He falls. 12 kills to 10. It's shaken out in favor of Optic Gaming.
Unfortunately not able to take anyone down with him, and now Optic wrestle back control of the sword. It is crazy how this game has just been dissected into play by play of I've got the sword, you've got the sword, the shock rifle trying to make that influence as it slows down once more, but there's the first kill. Now Optic are pushing.
There are 2 players in this game yet to register a single kill. LethuL and Formal, the difference being one has 6 assists for Optic Gaming and one has 1. LethuL goes down again to add to his tally, that's 5. It's a 6-kill game. TriPPPeY's got the camouflage. And now he's got the shock rifle.
LethuL is getting kills with that sword. TriPPPeY's lining it up, but lines it up incorrectly, and he's punished because of it. a fracture between the difference of being able to get that one or not, and now Frosty, the man who has always been so good with sniper rifles. The shock rifle will do. They're 4 kills down, but the speed at which we're seeing this game played, Jersey, is unreal, and it just really shows what's on the line for these teams. A grand final appearance.
The stakes couldn't be much higher. Repulsor play!
Oh!
And Frosty lines it up. That's why he's one of the best players in the game.
Unbelievable use of the repulsor there. Tees him up and then knocks him out of the park. Even the Royals will be proud of that one. But is he going to be able to follow up with more? Sentinels and Optic going toe-to-toe, but Optic know where this shock rifle is, and they are avoiding it like the plague.
Backs up once more. Formal ducks his head under that, and as a result, doesn't lose his hair. Shot to the back. Frosty cannot step in. The sword rings out. Formal gets up close and personal. The trades are coming through. SnakeBite leads the charge. 2 kills go in their favor, but LethuL has fallen elsewhere. Still yet to register a kill, as is Formal. But 7 assists to 2. LethuL has to step up here.
It's how Frosty's just dangling himself like bait on the end of a fishing line at the moment, saying, come and get me, and saying to SnakeBite, you just take advantage of that. Camouflage has spawned though. Still 2 kills between these 2 teams. And Frosty's gonna get in another fight, and the repulsor again does the work. If you had questioned how important the sandbox was in Halo Infinite, Frosty is putting on a show for us all.
1 kill game. Sentinels in the lead. SnakeBite and Frosty with the help of a killing spree. It's a 2-kill game. Make it 1. Camouflage popped in, but LethuL comes in and slaps that camouflage right out of his hand, says no thank you.
Does have 1 repulsor to work with, and it's always a good position to be in at blue, because of course you can eject them off the map. Sentinels have the lead now in Optic. They've tried as they might to push in and to stop this Sentinels roster from holding the fort, but there's always been an answer from Sentinels. 2 kills on the board at the moment for LethuL. A lot of questions on this man's POV. Needs a little bit of assistance over towards tower though.
LethuL in trouble. Tries to repulse to the player. Lucid says no, 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 not today. 1 kill. Royal 2 rings out a shot. Frosty adds another one to the already impressive tally of 11.
And I will say, do keep an eye on how many kills LethuL gets. When he gets less than 9 kills in a Slayer, Sentinels only win 25% of the time. When that becomes more than 9, they win 90% of the time. So if he gets 7 more, the odds are looking pretty good for the Sentinels roster. 26 to 24. Everything's slowed down again. Only 4 minutes and 20 on the clock, and I think that clock is very much going to play a part of this game.
Royal 2 made a meal of it. But they have stretched that lead. Camouflage in 5 seconds. It's going to be pivotal here as the pendulum swings over towards Sentinels. Royal 2! Shooting the body, letting them know, making sure he stays dead.
Camo was grabbed and scarpered away, but it's a significant lead now, 33 to 24. Sentinels did the unthinkable by taking down Cloud9, and they look to try and do the same here. They're on a warpath going up against Optic Gaming.
Camouflage for SnakeBite. And all of a sudden, Optic are in trouble. Let's go, Optic. Chance. Ring around, but is it too little, too late? 8 kills. SnakeBite playing so patient here in the corner over by blue.
He just feeds that information. He said, hey, Lucid's on double. I know where he is. I'm going to wait just in case 2 try and walk past. And all the meanwhile, Royal 2 is still watching these ankles. And that's why Optic are reluctant to push up, but they get the first frag. This is going to be the push. Lucid finds 1 more. Optic now need to surge in. They need to take this shock rifle away.
Here is Royal 2. Engagement goes through. They clear him out. 7-kill game, but all of a sudden, the clock starts to play a factor as it has so often before. LethuL can't get the trade. But Formal sitting at 2 and 11. When the lights shine brightest, he's been found wanting in game 5.
7 kill the difference. Sword's just been picked up by TriPPPeY, by the way. And if he can get into a position where he can start to slice and dice, it could really help their chances of getting back into it. But again, another Optic player falls, and they keep getting caught out in angles maybe they're not expecting to be watched from.
14 kills is all Sentinels need. But all of a sudden, that shot clock sitting at 2:12. It's going to play a huge factor here because Optic have to push, and they may open up for some mistakes.
I'm going to be honest, 2 minutes sounds more likely than 14 kills at the moment, but if that happens and LethuL gets a double and gets closer to that 9 kill mark for the stat, Sentinels are looking more and more likely of a grand final right now.
TriPPPeY's in a world of hurt. Frosty has to camouflage. He's not going to get away though. 10 kill lead. 10 kills the difference between these two teams.
And the time is ticking away. Optic can't afford to be waiting around and thinking about what they need to do. They have to think on their feet. They have to move. They have to try and take down this Sentinels roster who are just running away. They're being patient. And Frosty's slamming them from a distance.
Trigger discipline, waiting for that one shot, recognizing he still had camo, and he was not fully aware of where the players were situated. Royal 2. He's got Lucid in the crosshairs. And he hits all 4.
6 more kills, 1 minute and 14 seconds. Optic are on the ropes and Sentinels looking to tip them over. An unbelievable performance here on Recharge Slayer, and Optic Gaming do not have an answer.
The green wall looking shaky. The sledgehammer, the wrecking ball is coming through. We're into the final minute. 4 kills remaining. Lucid, you're in trouble. Sword out the back pocket. Takes 1, takes 2. It's a 2-kill game for Sentinels to punch their ticket to grand finals.
Sentinels can smell the blood like sharks in the water. And there it goes! Sentinels have done the unthinkable. Cloud9 done. Optic washed away. And Sentinels are in the grand finals.
Bagged and tagged. The autopsy will come through, but it's Sentinels who make their way to grand finals for what feels like an eternity ago. They've iced up, and that man on your screen's Frosty. What a performance from him.
And I think we might start calling it Sentinel Sunday rather than Championship Sunday with some of the performances that we're seeing. This was not in the script.
Nope.
It was an Optic versus Cloud9 winners final. It was an Optic versus Cloud9 grand final that everyone was expecting. But both of those teams find themselves in the elimination bracket, and it's those players on your screen, Sentinels, who are going to be writing all the headlines on tomorrow's newspapers if they can continue this form, because of course you still have to get the job done in the grand final, but they've come this far. Surely they can carry that momentum.
And now, Dan, they have the insurance policy of that bracket reset if they need to. Surely they can get it done in one of these best of 7s, no matter who the opponent is. But we could be set up for a Cloud9 Optic losers finals, which coming into the start of the day, who would have thought that was going to happen?
And of course, Cloud9 are united in that elimination bracket right now, and I'm sure after seeing that performance would love to go up against the likes of Optic Gaming, who dropped. No one saw this coming, and I don't even know if Sentinel saw this coming. At one point, I spoke to some of the players. How are you feeling about this event? And they're like, I don't know, man, it's been tough at times, but I'm sure we can get it done once Sunday comes around. And boy, have they proved that correct. 3-2 is the final score then. And there were some tightly contested games there. 2-1 on Oddball Streets, 2-1 on Capture the Flag Bazaar. But that 50-35 in both Slayers is such an important factor there for Sentinels.